trucking, spot market, hashtag 123 load board, hashtag DAT, hashtag let's go live. Stay tuned after these brief chords of heaviness. All right. Yes. Good morning. Let's get rid of that. Good morning. I know, two nights, 2 days in a row that we're live. It is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It is November 26th, and I'm already booking freight for December 1st, December 2020. How many of you didn't think we would get this far, right? We thought the world was going to burn, and all this other stuff, right? Well, guess what? The world's still here. We're still here. The sun hasn't burned us up yet. So there's that. The EMP hasn't happened yet. The flash riots and martial law hasn't happened yet. So it's a good day today. It is a good day. I am grateful. Here's the thing. I was going to name this video gratitude live stream. I think I did that last year. People don't want to hear gratitude. People don't want to hear positivity. They want to revel in misery, right? And so guess what? The algorithms kind of suck when I do gratitude and gratefulness and all that stuff. So I just named it Morning Coffee Live. We got our live feed going here. We got our coffee going here. And so I got drivers texting me. Let's see what this is about here. And I got my dog with the squeaky toy. Let's see. Okay. All right. So, anyways, deal with the lumper situation. You got to love lumpers, right? But anyways, I do reflect a lot on this time of year about gratitude. I live every day with gratitude because there was a time where I could have lost all of this shiny little camera that's, filming me, this desk, which is falling apart. I need a new desk. I need to figure that situation out before this thing collapses on me in the middle of a workday. And I drive a 23-year-old pickup truck. I'm very grateful for it because I know a lot of people that have a lot less. But there's just a lot I'm grateful for. But most of all, well, not most of all, equally grateful and important are you guys and gals that watch me on this little device that you call YouTube, your cell phone. Some of you are weird and watch this on a TV. Okay. I couldn't imagine this on a 65-inch screen TV. But I hope that I make, when you're sitting there in the truck stop and you're sitting there looking at all the Amazon trailers crash into other Swift trailers and all that on the truck stop, at the truck stop, I hope that, while you're watching that and you're watching me, I hope that you're having a good morning, you're drinking your coffee, and things are changing. Things are changing in the freight world right now. And the question that has yet to be answered is, what will this look like in January? Because I'm not sure. I haven't kept up with the whole crackdown on the illegal driver statuses. Because here's the thing. Here's what the news is doing. It gives you hope, and then it takes it away. That seems to be how politicians work. They give you hope, and then they take it away. Oh, we were going to do this, but then this happened. We were going to do this, but then this happened. We were going to do this, but this happened. For example, the government shutdown and the SNAP benefits. Everybody, if this goes down, man, people are going to be rioting in the streets. People are going to be, looting grocery stores. It's on, right? And then there are even people that did fake videos of people ransacking Walmart, which they're faked, and they give you this, like, there's no hope. Oh, we've become your savior. Government kicked in and we fixed the problem, so there's no need to loot or riot or blah, 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 right? And so if you expose yourself to the news cycle like that all the time, and you're already dealing with depression and vices and you're just lucky to be managing your trucking business, which a lot of you are, watching this. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. When you're going down the road, instead of listening to a YouTube or listening to a podcast, man, put some Spotify or iTunes or whatever floats your boat, and just listen to some music. Listen to a podcast that doesn't talk about current news events, something about self-preservation or focusing on the future or learning, audiobooks, learn about day trading or learn about, whatever, right? I learned a lot about diet stuff listening to audiobooks, right? And, get out of that news cycle, because all you can worry about is what's in front of you, what's in front of the truck right now, right? And you're probably facing the fuel island. There's someone that's probably been sitting there, maybe washing their truck with the squeegee, or they've dumped their urine bottle, right there on the ground for everybody to step in while they're getting fuel, and you're just sitting there like, that's a lot to take in. So why add to it, right? Why add to the misery? Because emotional people are easily manipulated. So keep control of your emotions. It's okay to have them. Just don't let them dictate everything that you do. So that's my little words of wisdom. Now, we will get into some trucking stuff. I've got a spot market report that CDN, Freight Broker, graciously sends me and several others every week. And I don't know if he's in here and will watch this, but I'm very grateful for him. He's been a good mentor in my life. And I appreciate the gifts that he's given, and I appreciate his friendship. So I appreciate everybody's friendship that's in here. So that cat, hey, kitty. Call the cat and the dog shows up. He's like, hey, what's going on? What are we doing? I don't know if you guys can't see the dog from here. Hey, go over here so people can see you. Hey, here, sit. Look, there's the doggy right there. Yeah. Oh, this dude has been. This dog gets me out of my comfort zone. So, which is good. You got to get out of your comfort zone. Do you want to be healed? Get out of your comfort zone. Anyways, let's go with the comments and then we'll get to the trucking boring stuff. TJ, what's up with the metal horns? Top of the morning, everyone. It was cold this morning, TJ. So your picture is very relevant. Desert Oaking Pam, it was not warm, so your picture is not relevant. But we will touch base today. Getting it unloaded, then 2.5 hour drive to go home. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's always the favorite drive, is delivering that last load on Wednesday and then going home. Morning, y'all. Had load. Aldi canceled the load. Forgot to tell us, so picking up in Ontario, California. So that's going to happen a lot in the next couple of days. And I mentioned it yesterday in yesterday's live feed that there was going to be a lot of shenanigans. And yesterday was kind of a stressful day in operations because of that kind of thing. I did several tow news yesterday, and it was just crazy. And I think my biggest battle right now is the brokers vetting / technology issues. Waiting on these rate cons that have to be verified by this and verified by that, and it's just insane. And I'm being extra careful with the links because of what happened to me last Friday, and over a week ago actually, and so it's been stressful a little bit. I mean, nowhere near the stress level that Jeff goes through, but it's kind of like you're being pulled in 10 different directions at all times. So anyways, so yeah, it's but yeah, there's going to be a lot of shenanigans like that. Dog, calm down, dude. Rockin' Van Life, stopping in, say hi and happy Turkey Day to y'all. What are you doing for Thanksgiving there, Shadow Wolf? What are you doing? Chief Frey Holler, good morning. You and your fancy red truck. First time in 5 years had a load fall through here at Frey Miller. Well, hopefully it won't be. Hopefully it'll be the last. Hopefully it won't be too often. Hold on a second. I'm going to take care of something. All right. Good morning, Red Lady. What's up? Thank you for your membership. Nothing witty is in the house, literally. Okay, time to check in. All right, man. Well, Scott, have a good holiday. See, quick hit. What's up? Good morning. 20-year-old pickup trucks are better than a new one. They're definitely cheaper to maintain. I could probably blow the engine on that thing and replace it for whatever. Like what? Even if I pay $5,000 for a new engine, I'm still looking at, like, if you divide $5,000, like let's say I put that on a credit or whatever, $5,000 divided by 12, that's my truck payment for a year. Still cheaper than what you can get a Ford F-150 for now. Roamland Services, how's it going? Good morning. SST is in the chat. Oh yeah, let's turn on the chat. Thank you. James G, what's up? You ask, do me lamb. I have no idea what that means. Older light duty trucks are absolutely better than new ones. OBT2 is the threshold when not crossed in personal vehicles. Good morning, everyone. Jerome, what's up? I'm going to go for a cool winter ride on the bike, just enjoying life to the fullest I can. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, that's a nice bike you got nowadays. StreamYard's being a little slow, so. Anyways, let's go over some spot market reports. Let's see. Let's. There's 25-mile-per-hour winds in Illinois and I-80. It's going to be a tailwind for me. I feel sorry for the guys with headwind or worse, a crosswind. Morning all. I hadn't used the dry van in many months, so I sold it. Hope I don't regret it since winter is slow season, but my gross is $60K more than my last 3 years average on the same mileage. Well, good. Josh, what's up? Hope you're still in there fighting the good fight. How not to die. That's awesome. A few of the more successful people that I saw at Landstar were ones that kept vans and the flatbeds. But a lot of times, is it worth keeping the insurance and all that? I guess you can rent one at worst, maybe, if you have your own authority or whatever. If things get too tough, but I mean, there's just, run the South and I think you'll be fine. There's still, especially if there's some kind of natural disaster or whatever, you're still doing materials, you're still doing equipment and all that stuff. So, and now that'll test your tarping skills is 80-mile-per-hour winds. I have a Super Duty and it goes to the dealer for any repairs. Half the engine is under the firewall. So yes, older trucks are better, easier to maintain. Yeah, I think I saw a video where it was on Facebook where someone had a Ford F-150 and they needed to tear apart practically half the thing to get to a simple part. It was like the engineering is not great on the newer vehicles. Like everything's all scrunched together. All right. All right. So that's good. That's one less load I got to pick up today. Let's see. There's a nice Conestoga spread axle for sale near me if anyone's interested. You know what's funny is you think that if you get a Conestoga, you don't have to tarp, but that's absolutely not true because those things aren't watertight, right? Because for a minute, I dispatched a Conestoga and it was not easy because you're counting on the broker to know if a Conestoga can be loaded or not. And so when you here's the thing. When you find yourself asking the broker for load information, it's been a complete crap show, right? It'll be afraid of all kinds, and in the flatbed world, they know a little bit more, but not much, right? So I will not dispatch a flatbed truck anymore because I'm clueless. I've never flatbedded. I hauled a flatbed across the interstate. That's all I've done. That's all I've done, and it was empty. So, but I do see the rates. I do know that you can make more money doing a flatbed, but you're doing twice the work. So, yeah, you cannot see the serpentine belt without moving parts. Yeah, what's funny is my son's going to mechanic school and he wants to learn how to maintain his own vehicle. And it turns out that he can change the oil in my truck. He can change the oil in my wife's car. He can change the oil. But he can't change oil or change out a couple of things on his own vehicle because of the issues that it has as far as how everything's, and that's on purpose, people. That's on purpose. So I mean, that's just like the big truck world, you got to go to the dealership to get this fixed. If you have a Volvo or a PACCAR or specialty engine, international or whatever, you got to go to the dealership to get it fixed because, your mom and pop shop in the middle of nowhere that can work on Cummins and that can work on, your Detroits can't do it, and if they do, they can't do the warranty work. So you got to pay for it. It's that's by design, people. So anyways, let's not bring ourselves down. Having Conestoga is kind of my plan. I just want to haul lumber out back, trying to be home every day or two. That's probably very easy to do where you're at. Yep, a Buddy's Jeep, everything is backwards with the serpentine belts by the block. So what you guys are saying, that if my pickup truck engine goes kablooey, then just find a crate engine, put it in there. Got it. The only thing I don't like about my pickup is that a lot of the seals are worn, and so the truck leaks like a sieve, it leaks water. Like, I don't have an analogy for it. So, and my rear doors don't open, and I've looked on YouTube for the fix, and it's like, you got to climb back there, and I don't know if my fat ass can do that. So, so if anybody wants to come over and help me with that'd be great. So, but I got to get those doors fixed. So, and it's very airy in there. It's like I can hear the road noise a lot more than I used to, like 10 years ago when I bought it. So but anyways, enough of that. Let's share the screen here. Let's go over the report, because that's exciting, right? We want to be excited. We want to be excited of what does the freight market hold. Josh says he'll help me over the winter. That's cool. Cool. All right, so let's see if I can zoom this in a little bit. All right. Overall market is still soft. Van market is almost to the loose category, which is kind of nice. Reefer markets is in the loose market, and flatbed has gone down. It was in neutral, so flatbed freight has gone down, but it is a seasonal item. Everybody thinks about the volatility of van, but what no one really realizes, well, maybe most of you smart ones, that, well, there's a lot of smart people that probably already noticed this. I'm just now figuring it out, that reefer and flatbed tend to be a lot more volatile, right? But look at, this is a nice trend here. We have in 203 in August. Now we're up to 208 in November, and November is almost done. So that's probably fairly accurate. Now look at reefer, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's down a little bit. Why? Because harvest season is over. So right now it's all snack cakes and beverages, freeze protect beverages, Christmas trees right now are and then here in not too long from now, you'll start seeing into the flower season and all that. So, and then we have reefer. Oh, that was flatbed. I'm sorry. See, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is reefer, right? Reefer's on a steady incline. That's cool. But flatbed's been kind of up and down. So we didn't have as many national disasters this past hurricane season, so that was probably a big part of that. Also, the tariffs probably had some, the tariffs have been some altering things, but we're almost over with that, I think. And then here's the other chart. You guys can look at. Hello, Draco. It'll be good to see you tomorrow. I've seen Christmas trees on flatbeds. Yes, that would be the preferred way to do it, I think. Let's see. Triumph's report. Two biggest mover lanes, and the two biggest mover lanes increase and in decrease. Baltimore to Maryland to Baltimore to Allentown has gone down. Let's see. And the $3 per 180 miles. Look, I'm seeing, like, we have a driver that does nothing but Pennsylvania, maybe Ohio. Every now and then he'll touch Indiana. But for the most part, he stays Ohio, Pennsylvania. And I see his daily rate. He's got a decent daily rate. The Florida, Georgia guys are doing really good. One of them booked a load, $2,000 for 300 miles, one stop, 1 day run. And these guys are extremely patient, and they live on the load boards. And that's how they accomplish these insane rates. There's one that did $1,500 for 186 miles, one and done. Easy stuff. The top rates that I have gotten have been utilizing Florida as far as like for the weekly revenue. And so there's a right way to do Florida and there's a wrong way to do Florida. If you go in and you deadhead 600 miles to come out, look at your average rate per day and per mile and see what you're doing at the end of that. But for the most part, you got to get your money going in, and I try not to go in too deep. You know, I don't go into Miami, but there's been a couple of drivers that I've dispatched to Miami. One of them both of them kind of by request. But we had a truck do the highest revenue I've done with one truck in a long time, and we went to Florida twice. You know, and he took the lumps coming out, but it set him up for another good Florida run, and we did really well with that. So yes, a lot of those rates are last minute. That's what they do. They tend to run. That's one of the other things. They tend to run nights. So if it's like noon and this load has to be picked up at 4 and delivered tomorrow morning, that's what they're grabbing. So a lot of drivers don't like doing overnights, which I didn't either. But and that's the key, right? And then once your 10-hour break's done, you go up north and you rinse, repeat. That seems to be where the best money is when you got a load that picks up between 2 and 8 p.m. and then delivers the next day in Florida. You know, Orlando, Miami, you're pushing it for that one shift. But for the most part, you know, they're getting 2 days worth of money on the loads to Miami if they go down that far south. Randall, howdy, brother, from North Missouri, aka Logistics. Oh man, dude, I'm glad to see you, man. I was worried about you. I believe I reached out to you a while back, but I never got an answer, so I figured maybe you changed your phone. I know you've been going through a lot of stuff, but it's good. It's good to see you. It's very good to see you. Shannon, good morning. Shannon doesn't talk to me anymore, so there's that. But I'm glad you're here. Let's see. I love that 1.15 freight out of Miami. I should make videos about it. That'll upset the YouTube warriors. Yeah, and look, there's a method, right? Our Georgia, Florida guys tend to not do that too often, but here's the thing. It's all on the timing, right? So if you deliver in Tampa and you grab that $1.15 coming out and it doesn't mess up your time, you're going north anyways, why not grab it? Now, when you lose a day because the load's not ready or something like that, then then that's where, but you protect the profit from the first load by taking something coming up for at least fuel money. So that's the trick, right? You know, if you're doing, you know, and look, like when you're utilizing Denver, that's a little bit more difficult because what I wanted to do, what I try to do, and what I've done with my own truck is I would take a load into Denver and then take the cheap beer load to like when I was at Landstar, take a cheap beer load to Oklahoma because it was all flat, you know, 287 south all the way down is flat. And so fuel mileage wasn't really an issue. And that would protect the profit from going into Denver versus what I try to do, especially in the spot, it becomes harder, is take that $1.15 to Kansas City, and then from Kansas City you can go wherever you want. But it's harder and harder to find a load going directly to Kansas City. So, so a lot of times we end up deadheading out, at least to Hutchins or Wichita, and if not Kansas City. So there's a strategy, right? How do you protect your profit from the load that made big money going in? It gets harder when you do something from say, Pennsylvania to Oregon, and then from Oregon, what are you going to get out of there? Is that going to be able to protect that profit? Because you probably didn't profit too much going all the way across country. So if your costs are about $2.25 a mile, well, you're lucky to get $1.80, maybe even $2 if you're really good and it's got multiple stops going to Oregon, Washington, and you definitely ain't getting that going into California. So it's a lot harder, right? So look at Shannon, gifted 10 more memberships. Thank you. I'm gonna have to do some members only stuff now. Which I've got one. I got one in the phone in the chamber, but I haven't had a chance to watch it to see if it's dumb, and then I'll release it to the members only. So I tend to be very critical of my own self. I can't watch myself. Opus Clips has been a godsend because I could stand myself for a minute. I don't know how you guys do it. Lone Wolf, what's up? What's up, Gary? How are you doing? You enjoying that trucking retirement? Dang, Shannon, YouTube has blackballed me, I guess. Let's see. I did have this up on. Yeah, it just picks the memberships at random. That's the only bad thing. See, Grafton, Sage, David Edwards, Jerry, Fran. I got to figure out how to go back to the YouTube handles, not the actual login stuff. Trucking with YouTube, what's up? T-Bone, sorry. Trucking with T-Bone and YouTube on the mind. What's up? How you doing? Just sitting here slinging parts this morning, over $10,000 this morning. I bet. So, anyways, let's see. Let's scroll down here. Blow chart is showing total broker posted spot loads on truck stop for each week during 2025. The takeaway here is that total load activity fell 5.8% from last week. That's interesting. But that's look, I'm getting a ton of emails of, hey, like I got brokers, and that's a good gauge. Look, here's a good gauge to know if you're in a good market or not. If you post your truck on a load board and you get phone calls, guess what? You have some leverage, right? We still need to, I know I'm funny. We still need to do that drum off before it gets cold because I don't have a heater in that garage there. My wife is due next week Tuesday, so I might be mostly done for the year. Gen Z, yes, you need to be home for that, and that's gonna be an awesome but difficult time for you. So congratulations. So a lot of these reports show DAT information and also truck stop information, right? So it's interesting to see the markets broken down like this. This is for van. Look at this. The below is the size of the workforce at C.H. Robinson over the last 2 years and the impact of AI in both in total company and North American service transport brokerage business. Let's take a look at this. Yeah. See that downward slope? I told my CH guy, I'm like, dude, the more I book online, the more they've got leverage to get rid of you. So let's not try to have me depend on that website, right? It's just National Van is at 208, National Flatbed is at 248, National Reefer is at 253 a mile. Contract rate is up to 204 without fuel. Spot rates have leveled off. Look for them to increase as we continue to lose capacity. That's what we're all waiting for. Department of Transportation stated it would challenge a recent court ruling blocking the new regulation on non-citizens obtaining commercial driver's license. Lawmakers introduced the Commercial Motor Vehicle English Proficiency Act, requiring all CDL tests to be administered only in English. That's, you think? A leaked internal draft memo from inside the U.S. Department of Transportation signals federal regulators are preparing use data to identify and shut down chameleon carriers by creating a severity scoring system powered by registration data and operational behavior and patterns tied to fraud. That will take out capacity. Carrier 411 announced that Operation Buckeye, conducted with HSI and ICE, led to the arrest of, I'm not reading that name, an alleged illegal operator from Moldova linked to a fraud network involving roughly 400 MC numbers. Right? FMCSA's new broker rules go into effect January 16th, requiring the $75,000 bond into a strict real-time requirement. Container ship fire in the port of Los Angeles forced evacuations and shut down multiple terminals Friday night, but officials say the blaze aboard the one Henry Hudson is now largely contained with no injuries. FMCSA threatened to decertify Pennsylvania CDL program over testing deficiencies, giving the state a deadline to correct compliance and oversight failures. And Tyson's closing a large beef plant in Lexington, Nebraska, affecting 3,200 workers as a price-fixing scrutiny intensified, with the administration asking the DOJ to begin an investigation. U.S. Border Patrol's Operation Bear Cave led to 37 arrests. See if I can... market summary. The domestic transportation market maintains a steady, muted cadence heading into the holidays, with freight volumes and rates stable under balanced supply and demand. Truckload lanes reflect a subdued peak season, tracking last year's levels without the vigor of earlier cycles. This equilibrium plays out amid escalating regulatory scrutiny on non-domiciled CDL holders, where enforcement actions are thinning the driver pool, adding layers of uncertainty as the Supreme Court's looming tariff ruling, which would sway import-driven trucking flows. While structural tailwinds hint at future carrier leverage, a true demand catalyst remains elusive. A strengthened recovery is not anticipated till first quarter 2026. Now, let me remove this here. I want to look up something here. All right, so I'm going to share this with you. This is your light at the end of the tunnel, people, okay? Freight logistics platform Highway has introduced a new optional feature that allows freight brokers to filter carriers based on whether the primary account holder has a non-domiciled commercial driver's license. It's a new feature that they've released, right? And so here's what's going to happen. If the government's not going to step in and fix it, Capitalism will. Liability, the lawyers will, right? Purpose: the filter is designed to help brokers mitigate fraud and manage liability risks associated with the interim final rule by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association that aim to restrict the issuance of non-domiciled CDLs. The feature enables to screen out carriers whose primary account owner holds a non-domiciled CDL. Impact: this new filtering capability could potentially reduce the available pool of carriers, particularly in spot markets, and has been a topic of significant discussion in the freight industry. Now they've temporarily stayed the FMCSA's rule, U.S. Court of Appeals, meaning that state agencies can currently resume issuing these licenses while a lawsuit challenging the rule proceeds. Now, if highway requires the carrier to have driver's license photos, right? I had to do that the other day. Then these ones that say no name given, I mean, if look, a lot of brokers are wanting driver's license photos now. A lot of brokers must be a U.S. citizen, must be proficient in English. I'm seeing that on RateCons now. And so we can regulate ourselves to get rid of this. And I think what happened was that accident in Florida really revealed, it was like popping a zit. It really revealed something at the top that we all knew what was going on, but we didn't know the depths of what was going on until it was revealed. Right? And that's usually how bad things happen. They get along, they get away with it for a long time until something snaps, and then all of a sudden everything's released. Right? So just kind of keep that in mind, right? Nothing what he says, congratulations, babies are the best. Yeah, when they're not ours. Flatbed, what's up? Haven't booked the CH load all year. No need to start now. It looks like from what I've been reading, no domicile drivers are going to be hurting to do brokers avoid any companies who employ them. Are going to be hurting, yes. And Rate Per Mile Masters has been on Facebook, has been posting a lot about this. Like if you're a clean carrier with clean CDLs, you're fixing to be rewarded. And the power only game's about to light up because ICE is going through the truck stops getting these people off the road. And so now you've got stranded equipment, stranded freight. And so brokers don't want to take that chance. So they're going to make sure that everything's on the up and up before they put that freight on your trailer. It's funny how many brokers are still using inspections as vetting process. I mean, the government got us in this mess, and you're expecting the government to get us out. Ponzi, what's up? Maybe Orange Jesus announces new trucker bill. Only MAGA cult members will haul freight. No exceptions, no exemption or exemptions. This is a national security event that should solve the capacity issue. Babies are great. Grandbabies are better. You take that back. Our babies were the best. They were. But we like the luxury that we can hang out with the baby, but not take it home. That's what I was getting at. Come on now. You know that. Our babies were the best. Thank guys, it's a girl, so I've heard my heart will be soft, and I'm looking forward to it. Yep. All right. So let's go over capacity. My wife is silly. She knows what I was talking about. Like, we have a friend in Joplin. She goes and visits the baby. We don't have to take it home. We don't have to feed it. We give it a toy a couple of times a year. Good to go, right? No, for real though, dude. Cherish these moments because they will not last forever. All right. All right. This is Van. Let's see what Missouri rates are coming to be. All right. Let's look at a lot of Monday loads posted. Let's sort this by pickup date. Nothing out of the ordinary, really. This dog is literally on top of my feet right now. I can't move. Truman says, I'm from the government. We are here to help. No, you ain't. I would love to take her home. I thought her parents would let me. I bet. Yeah, probably. Let's see. A lot of non-posted rates. Looks like business is normal. Nothing really outrageous. Let's take a look at DAT on the dashboard here. See what volumes look like, because maybe everything got booked yesterday. Georgia's got a decent amount of freight. Oh yeah. Well, okay. Illinois is 1141 out. Indiana's 629 out. Not as high as yesterday. If you guys remember the numbers yesterday, it was a lot higher. The trick will be finding the broker that's willing to book freight today. Because most of the people I'm working with are like, yeah, I'm off till Friday. I'll have my laptop with me if you need anything, right? So now here's the gamble, right? Here's the gamble. Do we book today for Friday if you're wanting to leave out Friday? Or would you rather book something Friday morning to leave out Friday with? That's the gamble. Is it going to be a last minute market? Because I guarantee you that there's going to be a few places that are going to be closed, and there's going to be a few brokers that won't work, or you're dealing with AI, right? So what I did is I've got one truck. I'm going to look for a load for Friday. And I've already got the other two booked for Friday. And then one just texted me and said she wants to have the whole weekend off, which is fine. It's her business. So every year is different. Last year, I don't remember. I should have wrote it down on how freight was. And I wasn't dispatching as many trucks, I think, last year. I've steadily been above 5 for the last, I would say, 6 months. Every now and then there's only 2 or 3 because trucks being down or whatever. Truck issues have been the issue here lately. But so I mean that's so let's find the highest paying thing coming out of Missouri. $3 a mile to go from Stratford to Miami. You probably get that up to $4,000. Picks up today. Actually, no. Yeah, picks up today. That would be a good weekend run, right? Obviously, it probably won't deliver till Monday. Was that 1,300 miles? So you might get lucky and it delivers. Now, if this would be perfect if you delivered on Sunday and then you would deadhead up, right? If it delivered on Sunday. So if you're delivering on Sunday, it's probably groceries. Let's see if they list a delivery time. No, it delivers on Monday. Non-hazmat batteries. Yes, driver will load, unload. Huh. How's that work? $2.10 a mile to go all the way to Washington. That's about $1.80. $1.94 to go to Portland. Here's $2.78 to go to Pembroke, Florida. St. Charles. That's going to be is this PLS? Yep, shopping carts. Yep. So who knows how many stops are in that? Now this is the one I would be more apt to take. Maybe, I don't know. $3,000 to Miami, Davenport, 20. So basically you're making another grand more to go to. Actually, no, it was $3,000. No, 3,900. Yeah, so you're making about $1,000 more to go all the way to Miami versus just going to Davenport. So is it worth the extra grand for that extra, 200 miles? Probably. But just know you're going to deadhead more out there, probably, unless you grab sugar out of the Everglades. And of course, your $1.27 to go out to California. No, thank you. But here's the common thing, okay? So here's the thing. So if you're a money chaser, it is hard to stay in a good market, right? You Miami, Washington, Portland, not great markets that you're going into. There's not one going to Ohio. There's not one going to Illinois. There's not one going to, of course it is Missouri, so it'd be a short haul anyways. You're going northeast, going to Houston, North Carolina. Here's one, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Minnesota. Now, this is probably paying really well. Why? Because there's blizzard warnings. I almost forgot. So let's do this here. We're back to doing these reports again. You got blizzard warnings up in the upper UK and Wisconsin. You've got storm warnings and winter advisories just north of Illinois there. Of course, a bunch of winds. So we're in this section again where I've got to pretty much do a weather report as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that's why they're paying well to go into Minnesota there. Now this is saying January 22nd, so I'm not sure what's up with that. Oh, that's in the future. So yeah. So when you see something like this, right? Now, I don't see this as much on DAT, but maybe because DAT I've got certain days I don't have like the next month. But this is a broker that's got this account, right? And we've talked about this broker before if you've watched me any amount of time. PLS has shopping carts out of St. Charles, Missouri. Okay. They obviously are the only broker doing these. And they've actually got freight planned up, January 22nd. That's over a month away. So if you're willing to do anything anywhere and you find a good broker agent over there at PLS, this is a great relationship. Because if you're willing to do these shopping cart loads and go anywhere, anytime, and the rate works for you, You get your backhaul back up to St. Louis, and which is fairly easy to do. And boom. Now you're not fighting 20 brokers for every single load that you're booking. Relationships are important. They can create consistency, which is the most successful people I know in the trucking world. It's because of consistency, not because they suddenly made it big with the $10,000 load. Is because they created consistency utilizing a $10,000 load, right? Oh, this is breaking news. T-Bone says travel ban on Ohio Turnpike until noon tomorrow. Let me see if I can. Let's go to the National Weather Service. Let's do forecast maps. Let me put that back up there. Yeah, they're not quite forecasting. Let's do day 3. Yeah, that's not helping me. Oh well. Oh well. But yeah, so I need to get back in the habit of watching forecast every morning like I used to. A lot of times I'll have my tablet sitting here with what's the Weather Nation. They have a live stream that they do from their website. I highly encourage people to have the Weather Nation app because you can watch their live forecast, but then they also have their recorded forecasts and you can get current conditions. It's my favorite weather source, I guess. Let's see what's coming out of New York. Your highest rate per mile is going to be into Pennsylvania. Let's see. Yeah, 641 a mile to go 78 miles. Like Jamaica, New York to Kutztown, $1,000 for 174 miles. Jersey, Massachusetts. So, if once you're up in the Northeast, you kind of get stuck up there if you're chasing rate per mile. Now, if you do, so that a lot of times when you pick it by rate per mile, it comes up with all the shorties in the Northeast. So that's the other thing. If you do Florida rate per mile, what's the highest rate per mile coming out of Florida? It's going to be these. Oh, here's $4 a mile to go from Lee to Opelika, Alabama. Let's take a look at that. Picks up at 2 today, delivers 8:15 Friday morning. Beverages. It might be beer, but that's a cool $900. Why is it so much higher then, right? Because the average is about $1.90 to 236 miles. So from $419 to $519. $500 to go from Lee, Florida to Byron, Georgia. So your highest rate per mile is going to go back to Georgia or Alabama. Man, these are some good rate per miles for Florida. But then a longer one going to like York, Pennsylvania, that's $1.82 a mile, 44,000 pounds. So not a big profiter on that one. But see, if you look at the rate per day, like this one going to Massachusetts, Jacksonville, that's $1,000 a day. That's a 2-day run. But it's below my cost per day. Why is that? Probably because of tolls. Yep, $301 in tolls. This is the one I would probably grab. High Springs, Florida to Memphis. Maybe not. That's a late pickup time and a late delivery. So no, I wouldn't grab that. This would be the one I would grab. Jacksonville, Oakwood Village, Ohio. Put you in a good freight market. They're at 14. That's $700 a day. It's a 2-day run. Boom. Done. $45 in tolls. Going up 77 there. What's the weight on this? 11,000 pounds, a light load. This is the load I would pick if I was in Jacksonville right now. Or even if I was in Orlando or Miami, I would grab this load, right? If I needed to get out of the area. So what I do is I scroll down here and I look for these 400, like this one. This is one shift, right? Tampa to Charlotte. So if I delivered in Tampa, this is no deadhead. Delivers Charlotte Monday late morning. So I'd want to know the customer. Maybe I can get that done earlier. 43,000 pounds. So you're going to lose a lot on fuel, but that's $900 for one shift, which is good because you probably got that going in, right? Then from North Carolina, then what do you do out of there, right? Now these Tampa to Cleveland's, if they're one shift, then you can do it. But it would have to be an open window on the Cleveland, Tennessee side. But I don't think Cleveland puts you in a better spot, really. I mean, it's better than Florida. So let's click on one. Let's see where it's at. Yeah, that puts us kind of no man's land a little bit. So you're going to probably utilize the Nashville market. Friday is going to be a quick day. Most brokers will be gone by noon on Friday, or they're on call for emergencies at home. Yep, saying lots of high winds throughout Michigan and Ohio today. Yeah, well, everybody be careful. I don't have any trucks running up that area right now, so that's good. I mean, I'm sure there's a few trucks up there. I know Shannon's heading back home, so that's pretty much a strategy. Let's go to Colorado, right? Since we're green here, let's sort it by highest rate. It's going to be a lot of long haul, low paying stuff going. Oh, here's one almost $2 a mile going to Pennsylvania. Let's see if this is beer, then you got to make sure you got all of your permits. Oh, glass bottles. Wow. Now, let's say you got a load going into Denver, or Fort Worth is another one. Like if I'm looking out of Fort Worth, or if I'm looking out of Dallas, the Fort Worth Miller Coors comes up. Those loads always pop up. And the way I filter those out, because we can't haul beer out of Texas, is I will put the weight limit on either load board at 43,000, 42,000 pounds. That usually eliminates much of that beer. And that's how I can kind of and you'll see a big difference, right? So let's do that. Let's go to Dallas here. Dallas, Texas. Going anywhere. Let's do 100-mile radius here. And we'll do this for Friday. It's showing 463 results. Right? Even better. Let's do Fort Worth. And do a 50-mile radius just to see how extreme it is. and sort this by deadhead. Where are we at? It's showing me 327 results, right? So now we put in a weight limit of 40,000. 327, remember that number. Down to 165. Kills it by half. Okay. Now, not all of that was probably beer that had just filtered out, but now I'm not sorting through all this like Fort Worth to St. Louis. That's not a beer load. I know that for a fact. Unless TQL is wrong with their weight information. You still want to ask, right? Like here's Fort Worth to Oklahoma City. This would be a load I grab. 5,000 pounds, 202 loaded miles, easy breezy. And then Oklahoma City, I can probably get out with water. A lot of paper comes out of Fort Worth as well. But here's 2,600 to go from Fort Worth to Lakeland, 10,000 pounds. RXO's got that. And it also eliminates a lot of the Coke and Pepsi stuff too. A lot of beverages are eliminated by, because there's water out of Hutchins. There is water that comes out of Fort Worth as well. Nestle, I've done that a gazillion times with Schneider. So I mean that's and the spot market really. So that's how you kind of filter that out. Bring out the chains. Cornbread. Do work, old son. Okay. Dog food. It eliminates the dog food too. Does beer require permits like liquor? It still counts as alcohol, I think. Yes. There's a website. See if I can find it here. It's brewmovers.com. And it gives you a chart of what you need. So let's go to Texas here. It's a 2-year permit, and you need it. If it's check mark, you need it. If it's X, you don't. And the category that it's got an X is through. So you can pick up a beer load in, say, Colorado. Oh, you do need permit. It'll say NA. So you don't need a permit. So this will tell you whether you need it within, from, to, or through. Arkansas, you need a permit for all of it. California, you do need a permit for within and from, but not to or through. So I mean, there's or did I say that wrong? You need it. You don't. Yeah. So this is it's brewers.com. It's a good resource. I just avoid it usually completely anyways. Unless it's St. Louis inside Missouri, then we have Missouri intrastate, which allows us to haul beer from St. Louis to Springfield or St. Louis to Joplin. And those loads usually pay pretty decent. So the Oregon DOT asked me how many chains I had. I said 12. He goes, why? 12. I said, because my headache rack will hold 12 chains and binders. You said not those chains. How many tire chains do you have? And that's also on the Googles too. So, but anyways, I'm gonna get off here. I am grateful for everybody that shows up on these live feeds. I appreciate you. Thank you, Shannon, for the gift memberships. I will have some membership stuff here shortly. It's going to be a lot of it's more personal insight about like freight market or what I'm dealing with, or maybe some stuff that's not trucking related. Like a lot of times, if I do a guitar live feed on this channel, I will make it members only after the live feed's done. So, but anyways, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If you celebrate the holiday, if you're on the road, take care of yourself. Be safe. There's going to be a lot of crazy people on the road that aren't used to driving the interstate, so things are going to get clogged up. Gas is cheaper this year, so guess what? People are going to probably travel more. So, and then watch the weather. The weather is acting up, so we're in that time of year now. So, with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow, and hopefully we'll see you next week. All right. So peace out. Bang your head.